All right, let's go. Hey guys, welcome to another show. My name's Leon, and this is Real Estate Lunchbox. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to check the show out. If you're watching it in replay, you're watching it in live stream, appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, follow for more content. Real Estate Lunchbox is where we bring the culture together in the real estate space, talk about everything from the latest news in real estate, what's taking place in real estate or real estate related spaces, or just really cool stories that I feel like you really should know about. Things that are funny, things that are hip, like things that are new. My name is Leon. I am your real estate broker, agent, investor. I've been in the business for the last 20 years. And this is what I do, man. Investor, wholesaler, fix and flipper. Man, I like to talk about the market, like to talk about the changes in the market, love to talk about Atlanta, like to talk about lifestyle. We just not just real estate. I know that we do lifestyle also, a lot of lifestyle content, and Atlanta lifestyle content. So we're going to have some conversation about Atlanta today. And I think it's largely because, hold on one second. I think it's largely because in the Atlanta market, of course, we've got some changes that are taking place. We got some things that are happening, always happening in the Atlanta market. So I appreciate it. I love for you guys to like, subscribe, follow. And this is what I do. We're going to start rocking and checking out some of these stories. Feel free to leave a comment, and we can do that. We can do that. Man, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. We got the FIFA World Cup coming up in Atlanta, too. Hey, man, we got the FIFA World Cup. FIFA World Cup Atlanta. They've been clearing out a lot of these cities. I mean, a lot of June 15th, right, to July 15th at the Mercedes Benz. They're estimating that Atlanta's going to see somewhere around 200 and 500 million in revenue dollars spent this weekend just on the World Cup. I mean, not this weekend, starting the 15th of July, June going to July the 15th. So that's a whole month. Man, it's going to be crazy in Atlanta. I know if I know Atlanta, like any way that I know Atlanta, you better believe that they're going to have some stuff, a bunch of Atlanta events going on. People are going to be doing a bunch of stuff in the city celebrating this $500 million spent in the city of Atlanta for World Cup. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. Mm. What was this that I saw? Let me. You know what? I want to start with this. Let's start with this because initially they were well, they're starting to do a lot more cleaning up of felons. Some of you guys that aren't supposed to be here, felons, people that they know should be locked up. To me, is very similar to what they did when the '97 Olympics came to Atlanta. Very similar. I came in 2000. The Olympics were '97, but I watched it. Definitely online. And then I'm not online at that time, but I watched it on TV. That was our version of online on TV. And what was crazy is that after the fact, I discovered that they did a lot of sweeps having to do with criminals, felons, people that were getting off the streets. They went as far as in cut down a lot of these projects, these PJs that we don't see right now, but there were PJs out, a bunch of PJs. They cleaned up Atlanta for it. They really did. I don't think it had the effect on Atlanta that they thought it would. It brought people like me and some of us that relocated to Atlanta because we saw it on TV, had a chance. I came to Atlanta before '97 to visit. My pop used to live down here too. So I would come and spend the summer sometimes with him, and it was just dope. Atlanta just has always been a dope place. I've always enjoyed the vibe, and when you look at the history of how Atlanta was too prior to the '97 Olympics, Atlanta had a lot going on prior to the '97 Olympics. And it's like shifted and changed the face of the city for the '97 Olympics. But I think they expected it to make. I don't know what they really expected because it became a world focused city. Like it's like Atlanta's like a city of all nations, and we clown the place. we clown a lot of stuff we see dating in Atlanta, apartments in Atlanta, and I do a lot about Atlanta, especially in the real estate side and social side and lifestyle side. In Atlanta, always talking about something. But I don't think they expected to make it for it to become like an international city. And straight up, Atlanta became an international city off of that. And it brought people like me down here. So I think they're attempting to do the same thing in the city of Atlanta now, as they get ready for the World Cup. Let's play this.
A federal operation is underway to get dozens of felons off Atlanta streets ahead of the FIFA World Cup games.
Channel 2 investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln rode exclusively with the special federal unit that takes with tracking these felons down. Ashley, you actually found out that this is a joint partnership now with Atlanta Police.
It is. Atlanta Police and the FBI. We found out that these suspects, APD and the FBI identified as the most dangerous, wanted for murder and armed robbery. This operation allows for federal resources to be used to aid in quickly locating these suspects. We were right there as APD and FBI put handcuffs on some of these suspects.
We're not leaving.
We are going to be relentless. We're not going to stop till all these people are in custody.
It's a joint operation putting handcuffs on dozens of Atlanta's most wanted.
They don't always comply.
It's called Operation Lockdown, a partnership between the FBI and Atlanta Police Department, targeting some of the city's most dangerous, ahead of thousands descending on the city ahead of the FIFA World Cup games.
The timing hitting perfectly for FIFA? Absolutely. But would this be going on absent that? Yes.
We're really
I don't
going
think
after
so.
the worst of the worst, whether that be murder, whether that be aggravated assault.
Atlanta is very smart. People want to give you can talk as much smack as you want about Atlanta. Atlanta to me is the one place where the elected officials who are primarily black, primarily African American, blacks, work hand in hand with a lot of the money that moves in Atlanta. Primarily non-black, but they do have some wealthy people, a lot of wealthy African Americans in Atlanta involved in the shaping of the city, and it's very different. That's what makes Atlanta so unique. But I don't believe that this wouldn't be taking place if we did not have the FIFA World Cup coming. And that's the sad part, because a lot of these felons that they're pulling off the streets are felons that should have been pulled off the streets months, years ago. And I think, in my opinion, one of the things that Andre Dickens did in order to avoid Atlanta ended up looking like Minnesota, where you had ICE trailing through the streets, was agreeing to work with the federal government and bringing down some of these people that are here and that aren't supposed to be here, whether they're illegals, whether they're felons. They all got to go at the end of the day. These are the crazy ones that don't make it safe for my wife, my kids, your kids to walk down the street. There's always something going on in this city. So I think that this was a great move, but I think they're downplaying the real intentions of what this is for. And it should have been done. It's crazy that money needs to come into. We got to talk about money. We got to talk about recognition, acknowledgement on a world stage. That's the only time that we start to see this massive breakdown against felons. And we're going to talk some more about this, because it's not just the felons that we have to deal with or the crime ahead of this FIFA that's just hitting the rest of the community. And they're they should have did this before, like I said, but I'm seeing a lot of crime also against women, which is crazy. And I personally believe, just as someone married, having 2 daughters, that there has been such a quietness concerning that, and we'll talk more about that. And it's allowed a lot of these felons just to run the street and just do crazy things. But it doesn't shift. It only starts to shift now when we're talking about money and the consumer dollar that's coming in, the world dollar that's coming into Atlanta June the 15th.
With a firearm.
I rode along with the Violent Crimes Task Force. The first stop was this Northwest Atlanta home. Agents and police wanted Al Demetrius Brown, accused of shooting a man 9 times after an argument. Around 6 a.m., federal units hit the driveway. 2 women and 2 children exit the home first. Agents knowing Brown is hiding somewhere inside. SWAT with the Georgia State Patrol and K-9 were called in. And after more than 2 hours, Brown emerges.
As they went in, we've come to realize he was actually hiding in the attic of the house.
Agents then went to this Union City apartment complex looking for Kenneth Jones, accused of a deadly highway shooting in 2025, where gunfire struck a man and a pregnant woman, killing her unborn child. Agents had to use a flashbang and manhandle Jones after he resisted. And in Covington, agents arrested.
I'm glad that they're doing this, man. I'm so glad they're doing this. I think the worst thing is to have another country, people from other countries and other states come here for this event. You got to see soccer. We call it soccer. Other countries call it football. Our soccer league is trying to be world known and attract worldwide talent to it. Atlanta United, man, I love Atlanta United. I got my cap over there. I always wear the Atlanta United cap because great team. And I think it's bad when you talk about you're going to end up having people like this floating around there. Look, my screen is changing up, bro. I'm sorry. You're going to have people like that floating around here. And they don't be up to no good, man. They ain't up to nothing good. They ain't never going to be up to nothing good. So
Laquan Pascal, he barricaded himself for more than 3 hours, wanted for murder of a man on Auburn Avenue in 2025.
Turn yourself in now before we have to come to your house.
Operation Lockdown is after 35 offenders. 12 have already been captured, leaving the remaining 10 wanted on murder, 6 for aggravated assault, 3 on robbery, 3 other violent warrants, and 1 escapee.
Our goal is to get them in custody.
In recent years, Channel 2 has reported on Metro Atlanta law enforcement raids targeting the wrong location. Graham says agents research every raid location and are debriefed on details like suspect information and property layout. In the last 5 years, she says the agency incorporated advanced technology using robots and drones to be additional eyes to make entry when suspects barricade themselves in to ensure a safe ending for law enforcement and the suspect.
We are making sure that we have a plan prior to our arrival at any location. Partnership is paramount to be able to put our talents together and get these people off the street that are wreaking havoc in some of our communities.
We also found in the last 12 months, the FBI reports that murder and aggravated assault rates are being down more than 20% across the metro.
And Ashley, the FBI also says they use additional methods now of knowing that they're at the location where the suspect's at.
Yeah, they monitor a lot of ways to find out if that suspect is there, one being phone tracking, human sources, and also they surveil these suspects for several weeks before going to that location, making sure they're at the right spot.
They want to be certain they are getting the person they mean to get. Ashley, thank you.
Yeah, which I think is dope. Because there's been a lot of complaining. Oh, yeah, you're raiding the wrong places. You're raiding the wrong houses. This is a free... Bro, at the end of the day, you got to let these guys do their job, man. And when we don't let these guys do their jobs, our children, the women in our neighborhoods, the innocent people, they tend to suffer the most. Check this out right here. Where we at? Boom. Let's see if this is it. I think this is it. I've been looking at some of the most craziest things that have been happening. Yeah, let's see if this is it right here. I think this is it.
New Essex, a federal judge and a
No. That's a good one. We're gonna sit on that one for a second. We're gonna sit on that one.
Let's get to some breaking news now. Back here in the U.S., a former CIA senior officer is accused.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't actually. You know what? Oh yeah, boom. I got a bunch of stuff loaded up in here too. So let's go with this one. Boom.
But let's continue on this Tuesday afternoon. A DeKalb County woman is sharing her story after surviving a brutal home invasion. And this is a story that Ray Urena has been working on all day today. And Ray, if I understand.
Hey, like, subscribe, follow for more content. Safety is very important for women. I'm gonna tell you right now, women, this is how I feel. If you're a guy And I had some really strange stuff that happened. Like, I think my daughter at one time, and this kind of made me decide to even talk about this, because I think my daughter was getting into the car one time and this guy pulled up. We were not there. We're around the corner. I think we're headed out somewhere. But we left her getting her hair done and she's old enough. She has her own car. So this guy pulls up, and this is her telling us the story how it was. And it seems like this guy asked her, and he was an older guy too, a lot older, about her name. Like, who are you? Where you from? You look pretty. I want to, what's your name? Can I get your number? I mean, to an 18-year-old, I'm like, nah. Because she said, Dad, he looked like he was almost 40 years old. See, when I start seeing that, and I've seen that in a history dealing with my wife and people, guys approach. But as your daughters start to get older and you see grown men starting to approach, it make you feel a certain type of way. You respond differently. And my wife was showing me, and I noticed this. See, they got to clean up Atlanta, get ready for that World Cup, because on the back end, they know what's taking place. You got a lot of people committing violent acts against women right now. A lot of them doing it. A lot of men. And I tell people this is not, and this is probably a conversation part of it too for my other channel, The Real Leon Duncan, which I live stream on. But I needed to kind of bring this in because I feel like as we get closer towards like the World Cup, FIFA, even when I addressed slightly a little bit of what was taking place when it came to ICE picking up illegals and things like that, which we've dealt with in Georgia before and in Atlanta specifically. I think we don't protect our women enough. We let these violent criminals go back on the street. We're very loose and passive with them. We make a lot of arguments in the community about generational wealth. We say we want to build up and build generational wealth, but we don't understand that safety, the community that we buy these properties in, the communities that we participate in, you can't grow wealth with crime running rampant, no order at all, felons that get out of jail and they go and do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. They're free to do those things again because the judge that was supposed to lock them up never locked them up, gave them that freedom and that mobility. Felt like they were doing a lot of injustice towards that criminal. More concerned with the rights of the criminal who's been there in some of these courtrooms 5, 6, 7, 10 times. More concerned with that than the citizens who pay the taxes, who abide by the law, and who live in these areas and buy the real estate in these areas. So I understand what they're doing getting ready for 2026 World Cup. But I also realize that that is a bigger problem. If you just wait until the World Cup to come on the scene for you to actually do something constructive about stopping this, then I got to say, which we all know, this is nothing but greed and it's all about money, okay? But when I saw this story, I was amazed that somebody that's I'm a black belt, not a prior black belt, meaning I haven't gone my second, third, fourth degree. But my first degree black belt, right? When I became a black belt when I was pretty young, and I've always trained continuous fighting, point fighting, jiu-jitsu, didn't matter. I've always been a proponent about women taking care of themselves, always having the ability to be able to defend themselves. And I feel like as we race towards an economy where you have more and more unemployment, and then you have people that are in power that don't want to sit back and protect the citizens, but they would rather protect the criminals. That makes me scratch my head, and I don't hesitate to understand now why women are being attacked in the street violently. And I kind of feel it doesn't stop until men who have a sense of self-worth, identity about themselves, step up now and begin to advocate, defend, and call out some of these things that are happening to women, period. And I know some men may look at this and they'll say, man, what the heck you talking about this? Because things rise and fall regardless of whatever they want to say, this being a patriarchal society, male-dominated society. It is our job as men to protect women. I don't know where that went. I don't understand and know where it went. I don't know. I teach my son, and my sons in my home how to actually open the door for women, be respectful for them. And I know there's crazy women out here, but let's be honest. There are crazy women, but there's some women that aren't. There's a lot of women that aren't. And to put that blanket application, and we tend to do it a lot on social media. You see it a lot on YouTube, a lot of red pill information. People always talking the red pill, the red pill, the red pill. I get it. Part of that content is being, if you're going to recognize you're a man and you're going to say, hey, I'm a guy, I'm a man, and da-da-da-da, then do the things that men are supposed to do. I mean, defending the weak? Yeah. So when I look at it, it does make me upset some. It does. And I'm going to talk more about it on my other channel because I know that this is more real estate and people come for real estate and just tell me about real estate. I see some of y'all in the comments. Come on, bro. Real estate, a lot of people don't understand. Real estate is not just about the X's and O's. And it's not just about a property that you buy. Like me, I've bought properties in the hood. And the mentality of the people there, not everybody's bad. First, let's get that right. But they're looking for not just you to come in and buy a house and to rent it out, but they care. A lot of people in communities in Atlanta, they care about their communities, man. They've been there for years, sometimes generations. So I think when we invest in these communities, when we do all this generational wealth talk, generational wealth is also about safety and security. It's also about safety and security of our communities, not just of our legacy. Man, let me let this go.
Incorrectly, this attacker cut the power before breaking in.
Yeah, that's correct, Tyler. And I just want to let you and the viewers know that there are going to be some graphic details included in this story. But the victim's name in this case, her name is Jenna Salem. Just for a little bit of background, she is right now a anesthesiologist resident at several hospitals here in the metro Atlanta area. So she's been working to complete her post-medical school training at several hospitals when this all occurred. Now, this happened at a home that she was renting at the time on Atherton Circle, that's in DeKalb County, and this happened back in late January. And Jenna tells me that she was just asleep with the doors locked when all this happened in late January. She says she woke up to the sound of heavy footsteps in the hallway and a man in her doorway, and that man apparently tried to sexually assault her, she says, initially, and then dragged her down into the house's basement. And then at that point, that's when Jenna said she started to fight back after a struggle. She was able to get away initially at first, but the man was able to get to her before she was able to run out that door. And it was in that basement where Jenna says she was able to fight off her alleged attacker, who in this case, his name is Derek Bernstein. He is currently at the DeKalb County Jail where we are currently at, and was denied bond back in January when he was arrested. But Jenna says that she was able to fight off her attacker. She says that her attacker allegedly punched her so hard that she says that everything went white on there. And she you'll notice that she, in the video that will show of her speaking, that she actually had her throat cut by a knife by this alleged attacker that he allegedly produced. It was apparently one of the kitchen knives. And during this struggle, Jenna says she was able to break the knife and kind of turn the tables on her attacker while after she was stabbed. And she says during that, when she was stabbed, one of her ribs was dislocated and her lung eventually collapsed. So she was doing all this while having one lung that was operating normally, the other one had collapsed, and she was able to fight off her attacker, break the knife off, push him far enough away from her that she was able to run out of the door and eventually seek help from a neighbor who called 911 and an ambulance. And Jenna, when she got to the hospital, she was taken to Grady, and that's one of the hospitals that she had been working rotations around. She says it was a surreal moment because these were co-workers of her that were now tasked with the opportunity to save her life. Now, Jenna says that since all this, she has not been able to go back. She never went back to that Atherton Circle home that she was renting, but I did ask her, why is she coming forward and sharing her story in such great detail? And this is what she had to say to that question.
I just feel so strongly that the only way that violence against women is ever going to stop happening, or that people are going to recognize that it is happening the way that it is if we speak out. When survivors can speak out when they feel comfortable and empowered to, and I do. I feel so strongly that people need to know that this happened to me, and there is no explanation. You can't write it off of I was out doing something, or I did everything right. I was in my own bed, I locked my doors, I had a Ring cam, and it still happened.
And Jenna and police say in their statements that this attacker, he allegedly turned off all of the lights in the control panel. He flicked every single light in the control panel to the off position inside of her home before.
You think about that. That you got to realize how premeditated that is. That means he thought about it. He mapped out. He knew he had to go to the control panel. He knew that the control panel actually, if he snapped that off, it would actually take out the cellular signal. And he did that. See, in my opinion, this is just me, and I know we're going to get back to real estate on this, right? We can't wait for shit like this to happen for us to stand up and say that this got to stop, bro. It's got to. The mental health issues concerning men who do stuff like this, we don't address it enough at all. And I don't think it's really left to women to shout about this. I think really real men need to actually say something about this, because this is crazy. It is crazy. When I looked at this, I thought about how many self-defense classes in the past I had a chance to teach, instruct, to participate in, where we had to show women how to actually defend themselves in tight situations like this. And someone being in your home, your private space, and imagine rolling over and you see them. It takes, at night, it takes so much out of you to control the anxiety, the fear. For men to do it in trained situations, the part of the training for self-defense, whether you're doing jiu-jitsu on the floor or whether you're doing taekwondo up high, striking, we do those things in repetition, so it becomes muscle memory when we act. Okay, imagine her. I said that this woman had to have had some level of training to actually fight off someone in a situation like that. And guys, my camera's been acting weird for the last few days, so I'm trying to figure out what it is, but hey, it is what it is. To fight off somebody in a situation like that, you can't underestimate how much conditioning, calmness of mind, focus is necessary to do this. So as we have these conversations about, and I know because I had a cousin, she bought a home and she's single, and I know plenty of women who have purchased homes I've helped over the years, rent or purchase homes directly, and they're literally living by themselves. And you give them the best advice. You said you can, like, hey, you get a security system, you get ADT, get something that's damn well reliable. You put it on, you have every window, every door, and motion detectors actually structured. But what about situations like this? I started taking my girls to the gun range so they can buck some shots, okay? And even as my daughter approaches 21, I'm like, hey, we getting you a gun. Like, we're getting you guns. Like, we're getting you guns. And a gun doesn't solve the problem. But I tell people at the the same time, it is less likely to escalate the situation if you know how to use it right, and the person who's attacking you, either they don't have one or they're caught off guard that you have one. Okay. But as we get closer to this World Cup event, I suspect we're going to see more than this. See, I saw the woman at the belt line that was stabbed to death by a dude that really should have been locked up because he showed up in front of the judge 4 to 5 times. And all the judge could say, yeah, we're taking a risk on this person because we believe in people. But you got to realize when you get to the 3rd to 4th time, why are we sitting back always believing in people in a 4th and 5th time and they committed violent acts towards women and towards children? I don't even say men, because men, honestly, guys, you got to stop being a bunch of pussies. Honestly, you should, as a man, you should know how to defend yourself, your family, your home, and have some level of it. We're getting closer and closer to that. Y'all don't understand that. One thing that I was blessed with seeing in 2008, and you could say it a blessing. I don't know if it was a blessing. In some ways, probably it was an awareness living through that time. The market was crashing. Crime was people, we don't even talk about how crime soared. Crime soared because the income was down. Now we're seeing something very similar. We're seeing people losing their jobs. We're seeing people struggling to actually make ends meet. So I know growing up in Philadelphia, when it used to be, it used to be the story that, and if you ever listen to Illmatic by Nas, they would talk about Nas and AZ. They going to rob the tourists, right? People start robbing people, and it's not the white collar robbing. We're talking about sticking people up and invading houses, and it's increased. So I guess this is my public service announcement to every woman that hears this in replay, that may know someone. Y'all may be scared of a gun, but you guys need to have a way to defend yourself if you're not living under the covering of a man. And if you are living under the covering of a man and he does not position you to be safe, you probably need to leave that joker. Now, y'all saying you're getting advice from a guy. I'm 20 years married. I say what I have to say. I have to say it. 20 years married. Yes, there is a way that things are done that our society is getting away from. And it's, see, I said I wasn't going to start cussing, but it is effed up that the men don't know how to be men and defend their women or defend women, period. That it's all, you will watch a woman get hit, stabbed, and beaten, and you will look at her with a silly face in the middle of that. Oh my God, somebody needs to help her. You're a sucker. You're a sucker. You're a sucker. And I got other words I'm going to tell you and call you, but you are a sucker. I think that this is too late. It's too late to start bringing in, to start going after the felons for the dollar of the World Cup. Your asses should have been doing this stuff when they were telling you that we have violent offenders in the community. We have people that don't belong here that are here in the community that are violent offenders. You don't blanket and make everybody the criminal just because they're here and they're from other countries and stuff. I'm not about that. But I am about people that have shown up on the meter, on the radar, as being violent people, and there's no voice, no condemnation, no correction from public officials, as well as people that hold the banner and they wave it for the rights of people that have been incarcerated, to not be subjected to the stereotype coming out. Damn, if you don't want them to be subjected to that stereotype, you need to do something about the ones that are out here perpetuating that stereotype, and they're free to roam and do what ever the hell they want to do. Okay? That's the shit that makes me upset. This is it. Because I've been in the military. I've been in situations where I had to train to defend myself. And you can call it whatever you want to. It is our job. It's not the police job. You can't sit back and wait for a sheriff to come and do it. If y'all don't do this, if y'all don't start protecting your women, equipping your women, protecting your families, protecting the things that God has blessed you to be able to administer over, if you don't start, what happens with this turn in society, because society is evolving, it's changing. It's changing right under your feet. Some of you guys, you don't see it's changing. We're talking about AI and aliens at the same damn time. Nobody wants to talk about that, but we are talking about aliens and AI, about bodies of aliens, about AI taking people's jobs, about this change in society and how we make money, how we support our families. And it's the last time this level of conversation has happened, and they've changed, they adjusted the way that the average working person goes out and makes $1. I think it was the Industrial Revolution. It wasn't even the dot-com boom. It wasn't even the introduction of computers. That didn't change the shape of the face of our society, our culture, as much as what is happening right now will forever and has forever changed the face of our culture. And we're just trying to get to work and make some money. And I get it. We're just trying to show up on time for our boss. We're just trying to complete that training that will help us to earn a little bit more. All those things are fine, but we're not in a place where we don't have the luxury of any more focusing just on our specific issues and not being aware of what's taking place globally, regionally, and in the very cities that we live in and we say we invest in. We say we invest in it, right?
Before all of this attack happened. So a very, very scary situation. And Jenna says she is thankful that she was able to live this and share this story. But she did tell me that there were a number of times that she thought she was going to die during that home invasion. But again, this alleged attacker, Derek Bernstein, he is behind bars at the DeKalb County Jail. And according to jail records that I just looked up not too long ago, it appears that he has another court hearing coming up in June. Tyler?
Oh, that's incredibly traumatic, incredibly scary. I mean, you could put yourself in her shoes and understand that this could have been anyone, essentially, been able to turn off the lights and this person allegedly able to get inside that house. She's now in a safe place, it sounds like, not at that home where that happened?
Yeah, she's in a safe place right now, Tyler. We're not going to say exactly where she is, but she did tell me that she had a job lined up after her residency was over in another state. So she's definitely looking forward to that job, which she's going to start very soon.
Yeah. Ray Arana, thank you so much for the update. We'll see you at 4 o'clock with the full story, and obviously very brave of her to speak out and talk to us about this so she could warn other people. Ray, thank you.
So when a man targets, or even another woman, because we got another issue too about that Atlanta club owner in Grayson that was killed, and she was shot and killed and by her lover, a woman in the house she lives in. But when we talk about these issues, we have to remember that as society and the culture can scream about this being a male-dominated society, and I can hear and understand that. I don't disagree. Corporate America, whether you're talking about corporate America, whether you're talking about just everyday life, we can't change that. We can't change it. Men are powerful, stronger. We can't change that. But what we can do, and it is our responsibility to protect the lesser and the weaker amongst us. It's just our response. I don't know where the mentality went that it's okay not to. Even if you don't know the person, I still drop jewels on people that I don't know if I'm walking by them. But I still do that. Ma'am, I still do that. I don't think we can ever talk about generational wealth and some of these wealth building things unless we get to that place where topics like this, we address it and we attack it. Okay? Man, I'm going to continue. I'm always going to talk about this stuff like this because in my opinion, if you don't talk about it, if we don't address it, if we don't acknowledge that the reason they're even dealing with these issues is because of money, we're going to constantly be in that place where we elect people in the office and they only respond when it's a financial gain or loss that affects them. Period. Let's roll. Let's go to this. Man, please don't hesitate. Like, subscribe, follow. Well, let's get into this. We're going to get into this Airbnb thing. I just had to put that on the top because, honestly, I mess around and I put that at the bottom and I talk about the highlighted topics, like the main topic, which is this Airbnb collapse. And then everybody loves the Airbnb collapse, but we don't talk about this, which is equally as important because I know me, if I've had rentals where I've only had single women renting those places, and even with the alarm system in place, even with knowing it's a good neighborhood, yeah, as a landlord, you probably wouldn't be concerned. You're like, be concerned with your family. I still get concerned with stuff like that. I still do get it because I believe that a weak culture creates weak men. It just creates weak men. You're just talking to an airborne soldier, served the military, black belt, fort, in the streets of Philly fighting, just jujitsu. You just talking to me. And my son is raised the same way. My sons are raised the same way. If you don't deal with this now, it'll become a bigger issue down the line. That's why I feel culturally women sometimes are scared to even approach men and deal with men. Because you don't know if you're going to get a Looney Tune or not. And there's a lot of Looney Tune men out here. And I'm going to tell y'all nuts. Y'all crazy. Y'all ham. And if you don't like it, you come see me. I don't care. Because if nobody told you that, then somebody needs to let you know. You make it harder for the men, the good men out here who wake up, go to work, pursue relationships, pursue having a good life, wanting to talk to women, loving the female species, and you got lunatics out here attacking. That's just my take for it. I'm sorry I'm not red pilling today. Yeah, women do a lot of things, and there's some real crazy women out here. That's true, but I'm not going to put them all in the same bubble like some of y'all do that. Y'all can red pill out as much as you want. Shit. It's a situation by situation, circumstance by situation. It's not all the same. It's not a monolith. I don't believe women are a monolith at all. Now, I said I was going to do that. Let's move on to the next topic.
Airbnb has collapsed and people are now openly talking about it a lot more. You go on social media and you're not seeing a bunch of people push the Airbnb model like they once was, all right? The silence is real loud, okay? Now, 5 years ago, it was hard to get furniture off a marketplace because all the Airbnb folks was getting it. They was doing the arbitrage. Everybody was talking about it, etc. The people selling the porches was making money. The people that were actually executing was making money. It was all good. All right, this new business model done took off.
Hey, like, subscribe, follow for more content, guys. Jump in it. I appreciate you looking. Make a comment. I definitely will go ahead and we'll talk more about whatever comments you make. And yeah, shout out to some of the ones already commenting up here. You guys are 100% right. This is all about money. It's been about money. The Airbnb model, it needed to go. It still needs to go. And I'm cautious about this Airbnb thing. I'm gonna tell you why. It serves a good purpose. It's when people who are ignorant. When I say ignorant, I'm not calling you stupid. I'm not saying you're dumb. What I'm saying is you don't take the time to research and do it. And I'm not even going to kick some of y'all. Honestly, I was in the same route. My first Airbnb property should have been a pad split. It didn't need to be an Airbnb. I forced the concept that I wanted to put out there. But, you know, from someone who exited out and let it go, I'm going to tell you the worst thing that you can do as an investor, someone that's trying to be a practitioner in real estate, a professional in real estate, someone that wants to endeavor to get in that space, is to follow everybody else. Following everybody else is what caused Airbnb to end up the way that it is right now. Because it's nothing bad with Airbnb, but when you get a bunch of hosts that only see dollar signs, that don't care, they don't really have the hospitality portion of it really working well. They got the real estate portion, and they think that that entitles them, hint, hint, entitles you to something, to money, to stay occupied. No, it doesn't. There's a level of hospitality that you have to extend to those people. And the sad portion is, in the quest for, I'm going to keep talking about it, generational wealth, people just do what they see other people do. And that's why Airbnb collapsed. You got a bunch of followers, because there are only certain people in that space, in my opinion, which I've seen, that have a very unique approach to Airbnb. They can go as far. I've been in places and seen places have things as far as in a specific type of theme for that Airbnb. For example, Georgia, I keep saying I want to go to this place, and I'm going to get out there, has a treehouse Airbnb. I don't know if it's a community, if it's one treehouse. I saw like a couple of them. I thought that was very unique. I thought it was very different. And I knew it when I got into the space. It had to be different. It can't just be a door that somebody rings with a doorbell and they just let you in and, oh, well, it's by the airport, so you're good, you're safe. You notice we're not talking about VRBO. You notice we haven't mentioned anything about short-term rentals, the concept. We're talking specifically about a specific type of go-to-market strategy, which is the Airbnb strategy, which is a little different from VRBO. The rates on VRBO, when we listed our Airbnb on there, we got better results with VRBO, a higher quality type of renter with VRBO, but a lot of people didn't know about VRBO. So the ones that knew, yeah, they booked our place, but the rest of them came through Airbnb. Now, if I had to do it over again, I'm going to tell you at the end what I would actually do.
Listen, I knew, and I taught my students, when you buy a rental property, all right, you want 3 exit strategies. What are those 3 exit strategies? If you got to do a fire sale, meaning if it's worth $100,000 and you got to sell for $90,000 or $80,000, are you still making money and moving on and live to see another day? All right. Second, does it cash flow for a rental property? All right. So if it's the property's worth $100,000, your mortgage is, let's say your mortgage is $600. Does it rent for $1,000? Okay. All right.
That's the 1% rule. That's important to know. And I'll keep saying it on this show, because I'm going to drop these little jewels on you. That's the 1% rule. That's the rule that every person needs to see if you're going to rent it. I don't care if you're becoming a landlord by accident or intentional. That 1% rule is the rule that governs the big boys. That's important for you, because even if you're a small boy, you still got to move like the big boys. You still got to. You got to have that base. And every time I got away from this, I had issues, because when you have that base, guess what happens? You position yourself now to be able to build an actual machine. And that's more important than you think.
And the third, all right, exit strategy that I would like would be the Airbnb or rent out rooms model. Doesn't work for it, right? And you make money, all right? So you're buying off three, and not just Airbnb. So I live on the outskirts of downtown in my city in one of those gentrified areas, right? There was somebody charging $515 a night. $515 a night. And if you know anything about gentrified area, basically all I'm saying is a hood in progress of getting cleaned up. They were charging $515 a night, and they were getting it. They were booked up. Big, brand new construction, 2,000 square foot house, right? $515 a night, right? Booked up, right? And sometimes something works until it doesn't. I guess people, they caught on like, yo, we can stay downtown in the city for $200 a night, all right? And with a lot of these Airbnb hosts, they lost their damn mind with these cleaning fees, all right? I passed down my cleaning fee. My cleaning fee is $110. I've seen cleaning fees high at $250, $180, and still ask for the person to, hey, put this in the, take the sheets off the bed, put them on the ground, put them here, do this, do that. Like, man, I'm paying. What the hell I gotta do this for? You know, with my little $100, hey, man, just leave it there and we'll take care of it, man. You know? You telling people to do stuff. Now people are starting to see the value in staying in hotels and motels.
Greed. Okay, American 1476 said they rose because they were cheaper than hotels. Facts. Then they failed because boomers think their shit is overvalued and destroyed a poor man's extra money while trying to get rich. You know, American 1476, I agree with you. Up until they said they failed because boomers think their shit is overvalued and destroyed a poor man's extra money. I don't quite understand that right there. I don't know. I agree with you. It was cheaper than hotels. That's why people went. But there was a point where these guys stopped charging like near hotel rates and doubled down. Now, I can understand when you talk about a value play why somebody would actually do that. You think about it, even in a hotel, you're going to decide between them flipping your sheets and bringing you new sheets, cleaning your room while you're at the pool, things like that, being in your space. Whereas with Airbnb, nobody's in your space, but you have a lot more space. And if it was situations where you didn't have more space, then I will just go for the hotel, because the value play in Airbnb is what is the convenience of being able to cook, right? Having the space for us as a family, like it's being able to cook, it's being able to go shop, buy groceries for the whole week while you're chilling at the beach and not have to be concerned with flipping $100 plus $150, $200, dinner every night, which is typically what happens when you're staying at a hotel. Some of the best ones too. And if the food is good, and my boys eat, they eat everything, including my food. I gotta stop and be like, hey, bro, you gotta slow the hell down. Go jump some rope outside, do something like that. But that's the convenience of Airbnb. That's the thing that should have kept people booking your apartment. But why would you want them to book at a much higher rate and to me dilute the value? I don't see how that works. I don't see how that works. You want to stack value on top of value. That's where some of these people screwed up at. And I'm just telling you firsthand. Like I said, I've owned Airbnb. I'm previous owner of an Airbnb. Took months to get the thing ready to go. I did the work myself out there. God, Lord, I know what I'm talking about, man. Oh, no. So why do we dilute that value out of greed? So I agree with what American 1476 said right there. Some of this is a greed issue, and your greed destroyed your business model. Or you were not as savvy when it came to giving yourself enough cushion. Come on, guys. I'm telling you I'm not beating you up. I'm telling you stuff that I did too. You wasn't savvy enough to give yourself enough cushion so that if something was to happen, I had cushion, but I didn't have enough cushion. And it hit so fast. But we forget when you deal with real estate, you're dealing with this. And you have people that are like this. And if you're a person that you're like this, and then your situations in real estate are like this, guess what happened? Everything in your life is going to be like this. You're not anchored, you're not stable, things move, and you just panic. And you could have came in with the best plan. Like who was it? Muhammad Ali said everybody got a plan, right? Tyson said everybody got a plan until they get hit. Everybody got a plan until they get hit. Now the market's getting hit. What's your plan?
And not having to deal with that mess. Okay? So the tenants, the people who were staying there, the clients, they were starting to get it. All right? Now you had that, right? You also had the people that the host, let's go to the host, right? The host, they got tired dealing with the clients. They got tired of dealing with the clients, right? What do I mean by that, right? I'm going to tell you my personal experience. And I thought it was just me, but I talked to like 5 other hosts. They had the same thing. They said this is a normal thing, right? They do a 3-day stay at your house. Day 3, they start complaining. They report to Airbnb. Airbnb will penalize you. I remember when Airbnb had American customer service. Now I'm getting some guy in China and India, and I don't know. I don't like, they say they're going to do something, they never do it. A week go by, 2 weeks go by, I call back and I get a totally different answer. Nobody's 100% on board, bro.
That's why they're going to be getting rid of AI. So guys, listen, understand, this is why they're getting rid of AI. I agree with them. I think when Airbnb had American customer service, it was dope. I mean, you pick up the phone, you talk to an American, somebody that speaks clear English. You hear me? They speak clear English. English clear. Don't talk about Leon being racist. I don't care what you say. Clear English. Clear English. And solve the situation. They couldn't maintain that based on $1. Now, and I think they screwed up when they turned around and just kept attacking hosts and just letting the host suffer the penalty. What they didn't really understand, and I don't know, maybe it was an experiment. Maybe they didn't have somebody savvy enough to do it. You can show courtesy, customer service to the buyer and the seller, but it wasn't about that. They always would take one side or take the other. I've had friends that had places ruined by people who stayed there. And one girl, she saw the lady prostitute. She was an agent of mine. And we're talking about Airbnb. She got one, I got one. And she's watching the prostitution taking place 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock at night. And when you tell Airbnb that, they look at you like you're stupid. And if you try to cancel, and then the person who you canceled on, they get upset, Airbnb takes their side. And don't let them damage something there. They take their side. They take their side. Crazy talk. I did this the other day. I talked about the girl going around and urinating on Airbnb host couches all over the place. Do you think Airbnb now turned around and took the side of the host? It took so long for these hosts down in Pensacola to get some level of relief from this woman because of Airbnb.
Like, so the customer service is really terrible with dealing with the host. And in that particular situation, let's say the person complains and makes something up, right? Oh, this place had roaches, right? And
which is very common.
They take a picture of a fake roach or they just make something up. But let's just say the roaches thing. In this case, I'm going to say, I know somebody that dealt with this. They said, oh, I had bed bugs. I'm not paying it. So they got refunded, right? The woman took it seriously. She went out and got a pest control person to come out, which cost her money, and he said, yo, ain't no bed bugs here. If you had bed bugs, you would have seen them, boop, 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 pointed out. So the person just made it up just to get a free stay. So they got reimbursed. She sent Airbnb the proof. Do you know she still got a ding? So a ding is, yeah, one more time, right? One more time. You get caught doing this, right? Or anything, even though you innocent in the first one, we just gonna suspend your account, right? I dealt with that, other hosts dealt with that, so they wasn't really good with customer service. But listen, last but not least, you know what I mean? Well, before I get to last but not least, they prioritize the client and not the host and not be fair to both. So now you getting people quitting Airbnb and saying, yo, I know multiple people quit Airbnb because of the headache it brings, man. We're dealing with those people. They complain about everything. Bruh, I can't control what go outside my house. I had somebody complain that they claim it was a shootout and somebody getting chased outside the house. And what you want me to do about that? They were getting chased by the police. So it was a nice neighborhood, but I can't control like where the bad guys run to and where the police chase them.
And you know, I kind of wonder, are they trying to like weed out certain owners or just weed out the amount of owners that they had? And I look at it, why would they do that? Because that means they make less money. They make less money because they have less owners that are actually competing for the business of the people that they drive to that platform. And it's worse when you have less owners and less people that can house those people. Doesn't that mean that you make less money? You have less traffic? Like I said, my best experiences were with VRBO. As somebody that rented short term, going to Florida, my best experiences were with VRBO. It wasn't with Airbnb. From the check-in to the quality of the owners to any issues that were there. I remember I stayed in an Airbnb in Pensacola, Florida one time, and me and my wife, we're hanging out. This is the first day that we're there. Her relatives come over, my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, everybody's walking through the place, and this roach shows up, bro. If you know anything about German cockroaches, I'm not talking about these big bugs that the South calls water bugs, right? And I just keep it water bugs. It don't matter. I'm not even talking about that. Because those things, they come from the outside of your home, inside, if you don't have it sealed, all those different things happen. Those are, that's a common thing. So I get that. I can say that American bug. But German cockroaches are different. When you see one, you better believe within a matter of, if not hours, to me, days, you're going to have a bunch of them. And we saw one, and then we saw two. When we saw our third one, it was a wrap. The first one, you can discredit and say, okay. The second one, actually, I ain't lying. The first one is enough for me. Honestly, it is enough for me. But who wants to see that? And when we go and complain to Airbnb about it, Airbnb takes the side of, in this case, of the host. Even after we sent the pictures. Even after we showed the video. Even after we show, and we didn't leave that day. We actually, I think we did leave that day. Yeah, we just canceled it and took the L. Airbnb didn't want to reimburse us half of it or part of it. There is a place where you got to work with the people that's there. And you can't call everybody a liar that brings up an issue, but you do have to have a thorough investigative process. I think Airbnb is going to adjust where they're dealing with a AI person that picks up the phone and answers it and routes it through some type of workflow. And you're still going to have a human involved, but that human's going to be on the back end, probably making sure a lot of that stuff is completed. I truly believe they're going to that spot, that space. But at the end of the day, I will never get another unit and put it on the market for Airbnb. It is legit a wrap for me. And I'm going to end this right here because he goes on talking. I wanted to play this because he does make some really good points. And I can tell it and I can say it. But honestly, if you don't hear another host actually tell you it, and another investor with the same frustration as I do, tell people that, people are going to think that we lying, that we making this stuff up. At one point in time, I would tell people, yeah, Airbnb is a great move if you know how to actually run it. And and I also felt, this is just me saying it, I feel like a lot of people treated Airbnb like a get-rich-quick scheme. And it's notorious. We are notorious as a culture for this. That's why when I do videos having to do with like hustle culture, I'm talking about this. They did the same thing with Turo. Remember Turo? Turo's still around, but people are leaving Turo because Turo's messing around with their numbers, messing around with their insurance. I'll probably do a video on that. But it's the same thing with that. It was the ones who stayed in, who built a fleet, and with Airbnb built multiple homes, they stayed in and they navigated that. that situation, which is great. People, I mean, you could say, Leon, you were doing a get rich quick scheme. You could say that. I'm cool with it. I mean, shoot, but I knew when to bail. Some people went 5, 6, 7, 8 houses deep, and then they're like, shit, this shit is not really making sense. Because it's a get rich quick scheme. See, when you build a system like that out, just like when you're building your wholesale business, your flip business, your real estate business that you're buying and holding, you really should have a website that's dedicated to that specific business. Very rarely did I see Airbnb hosts that actually had a standalone site where you can book through on the back end. Now, how you say, Leon, how would you know? Because the ones that were good, they actually had material there. And the material directed me to booking further with them in the future through their personal site. I thought that was dope. Now I'm using that to generate leads, and I'm keeping that information, and I'm marketing to those people because they go into my CRM, and I'm telling them, come back, stay longer. You don't have to go through Airbnb. Matter of fact, the rates are better. And I think also the smart ones cause Airbnb to collapse to that point too. But I don't see VRBO having a bunch of complaints online. I don't see that. The quality and the way that they handle customers is different. It's really different. So it's sad when we talk real estate and we talk all this generational wealth and we talk, I keep saying, and I told my wife yesterday, it starts with a mental shift. It starts with a mental shift, getting away from get rich quick shit and focusing on building a brand, building a business, putting systems in place in that business. Man, people can hate AI as much as you want, but some of the stuff I've been able to do with AI, it blows my mind, and it would probably have taken me weeks to do it otherwise. Gotta hire somebody to build the site. Gotta make sure that the flow in the back end works right. You don't have time to do all these little marketing channel content. But you got to do it, and that in itself can take a week to create content for a whole month or even a quarter. All of this is important. See, I think right now with the rise of AI, it's going to affect all of our money in our pockets, but our saving grace, in my opinion, will be the saving grace will be in the life of a person that's not afraid to start something, to build it out, to brand it, to make systems and tools around it, and to market it for people. And it's really just that simple. But these are the basic building blocks. I feel when people make money and they want to make money and they want to build an empire, they want to build generational wealth, they tend to not pay attention to or look at. They don't think that, hey, I might have seasons and times where I struggle. There's seasons in real estate that I didn't sell anything. I didn't sell a thing. If I would have gotten out of the business because I'm not selling anything, or I didn't like the way a seller's dealt with something or buyers dealt with, I would not have made any money in real estate. I would have not. I had to endure certain things and working through it. And it became easier down the line, but some people quit before it even becomes easy. So yeah, I understand why Airbnb is collapsing.
For those of you who wanted to buy a new house, get ready, because the Airbnb market is currently crashing. If we look at the Airbnb revenue from last year versus this year, they're almost down 50% in places like Tennessee and Arizona. So that means with this extreme reduction in revenue, we're going to see a lot of rental properties go on the market. Because those people who bought like 8 homes to do Airbnb in, it's no longer profitable anymore. So their homes are just going to be sitting there losing value. So they're going to put them on the market. In 2022 and early 2023, the demand for houses was astronomical and the supply was very low, which means prices were high. But with all these Airbnb homes hitting the market soon, the supply is going to go up and the demand is going to go down, which means prices are going to go down. So if you were someone who really wanted to buy a house in 2022 and, the prices were too high and you were struggling to afford it, I'd recommend you pay close attention to the housing market this year. But it's important to note that this does not mean an astronomical reduction in the price. Where I live in Atlanta, the average home price is around $440,000. As we move to the later months of 2023, we're definitely going to see this graph and this number go down, but definitely not by something like $200,000, $300,000. But even if the price goes down by, $20,000, $40,000, that's still a great opportunity for a lot of people.
The downfall of Airbnb is 100% the greed of the hosts, and I stand behind that. It was a great concept in the beginning. It still is technically a great concept. It should be working, but hosts got so greedy. The whole reason you would book it in the beginning is because it was cheaper than a hotel, and it was really good if you're going anywhere with a big group to find a house or something. But then they started with the cleaning fees, all of these ridiculous fees, all of these, like a list of things that you have to do before you even leave. And then people started purchasing extra properties with the whole intention of just putting it on Airbnb. And if you...
Yeah, I'm going to pause it real quick right there. She's not off. Why are hosts asking people to wash the beddings, wash the dishes, take out the trash, clean up the living room, restock the toilet tissue, wash all of of not just the beddings, but also turn around and wash the towels. We want to do that, and then charge you for a freaking cleanup fee. You're crazy.
You're unlucky enough to live in a market where a lot of people do that, it artificially raises up the rent for everybody else. If I'm staying in a hotel, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to clean anything. I don't have to worry about all those crazy fees. And now it's cheaper than most Airbnbs because they jack the prices up so much. It was a great run, but I don't miss it at all.
I am about to...
Man, I don't agree with her on a point that it's just the greed of the host. I believe it also it's the greed and the deception of some people who actually rent the Airbnbs too. Because like I said previously, they will rent the Airbnb, dispute the rental on their credit card, or either dispute the rental with Airbnb to get a free rent time. We call that what, churn in the business, right? Is your churn, is your loss rate. Yeah, you can only experience a high churn but for so long where you got to tap out, you know? So to say it was just host, I don't think it was just host. I think it was also people who rented. People treat things like they treat other people's things like they treat themselves, like they treat their stuff. And that's the sad part about it. If you're dirty at home, we know from your apartment. I mean, we know from your hotel rental. We know from your Airbnb rental how you live at home. Because even when I go to a hotel, I still don't leave the hotel room dirty because I didn't meet the hotel room dirty, and I'm just not a dirty person. If I see it and it needs to go to the trash, I'm going to put it in the trash. Some people don't think like that. So the hospitality portion, which a lot of people were running into, like not even thinking about when they got these Airbnbs, that's the hospitality portion. Some people naturally fail in hospitality. But when you stack that on top of people who rent the place, who do bad already, now you create chaos. This is a double model, and a lot of people didn't see it. It's not just about owning a real estate. It's about being a good, hospitable person. Hospitable? That's hospitable, right? Yeah. All right, let's go.
Host my last Airbnb guest ever. I have been a Airbnb superhost for the last 5 years, and I am finally calling it quits, and this is why. I started my Airbnb back in 2021, and it was really my major trajectory into being a full-time entrepreneur. I was working a 6-figure corporate tech job at the time, and I literally waited for the day that I closed the loan to submit my 30-day resignation. That's a story for another day, but to get to the Airbnb, and I know other Airbnb hosts are probably going to resonate with a lot of what I'm saying. And I actually think it's important for Airbnb guests to listen to this message because I don't think a lot of them realize the blood, sweat, and tears that go into being a host. I've been at over 70% occupancy continuously since I started my Airbnb. And it's families who want to have Christmas together, who all live in apartments. It's chemo patients who need to have a more comfortable place to stay. It's families who are traveling to visit other families who can't afford to be in a hotel with their kids. It's a lot of people who really truly need the short-term rental market to exist that would not otherwise have the same kind of stay if they were in a hotel and or having to be staying with family and sleeping on the floor and all of that kind of stuff. So I feel really proud, and I felt really proud about all of the families we've been able to host over the years. Genuinely for me, especially as a mom who travels a lot with my family, and I have 3 kids and a husband and all that kind of stuff, it's really been a labor of love. But here's the thing. A lot of guests, for some reason, have this mindset that because you own an Airbnb, that you must be rolling in the dough. That because you own an Airbnb, that you have a full functioning staff of a hotel. You have just massive amounts of indisposable income, that you're not even a person. My very first Airbnb guest, literally the first person, threw a raging party in the house, literally punched holes through the doors. I was in an absolute panic. It was worst case scenario, as you can imagine. And my experience with Airbnb as the corporate aspect of this is less than favorable. They really do side with guests far more than they side with hosts. Even as a super host, which I earned very early on, I have found that Airbnb would constantly run me over the coals when it came to reimbursements for anything. And people be doing nasty ass shit in Airbnbs. Again, it's this idea, right, that there's not a human on the other side, that there's not a family that's doing this as a business venture, but also to provide a service in the community. So we are finally converting our Airbnb into a long-term rental. I'm also really happy to be able to provide a house and a home to a family who has been in apartments whose kids are growing and need more space.
I saw a video asking why has Airbnb started to fail, and ding ding ding, I know the answer. You turn your guests into employees. I gotta take the trash out. I gotta take the trash to the street.
I'm gonna stop real quick. To expect people to respect your stuff when it comes to Airbnb, I think we ask too much of people, honestly. I think we ask too much of individuals to come in and to actually act like human beings in the space that they're renting. That's just my opinion. Some people are just dirty. They just are dirty. They're selfish, self-absorbed. They didn't come to have a good time. They came to take something from somebody. They came to scheme something out of somebody's hand. And that's just the way that they're built. Unfortunately, that becomes a reflection on every person that stays there now or potentially will use the service. And that's the thing that kind of jacks me up, because I hear people talk about generational wealth so much, but when you look at how they run their lives, it's like, how can you run your life the way you run your life and still talk about generational wealth? It doesn't, like, the math isn't mathing. Like, to me, generational wealth is less about what you consume and more about your mindset. So when she's right, when you get families, and we were attempting to buy more, but we kept running into people that thought on their thinking was such a low level that they will come and leave the place looking terrible and didn't want to do anything on the list and didn't clean anything, ruin stuff. You go out of business pretty fast. You get out of business pretty fast, man.
I gotta put the dishes in the dishwasher and start that bit. I gotta take the sheets off the bed, take them downstairs, put them in the washing machine, and start that as well. The list of rules would be longer than the concierge suggestions. How is that gonna work for me? And then on top of that, there's not a lot of brand partnerships that are beneficial to the stayer. Like, at least if I stay at the Marriott, I can get a discount on Lyft rides. At least I can merge that together. Hilton has a merger with Delta Airlines. I think Uber or something like that. Like, y'all don't have no discounts. There's no point system. There's no book 11 get the 30th, book 11 get the 12th one 30% off.
I saw an Airbnb host, she do that, and she actually rented out her Tesla. She put a Tesla with the property, which I was like, damn, a Tesla with the property. So they don't have to go in and use Uber to get around. And just that extra Tesla there, along with don't get it. You just didn't get it. You got a chance to. You got to rent the Tesla, but I'm like, that's still dope, though. That's still dope because you can leave it there. You don't have to bother with it. What she's saying is on point. We don't value stack. I didn't value stack when I did that. I didn't see the need for value stacking. I thought really there was a level of entitlement. Like just because I get an Airbnb and I rent it out, it's clean, remodeled, look very good. You think that's enough, but that's really not. One of the things that you really should do is build connections with other businesses that are around you, so that when your tenant comes, when the renter, that short-term person stays there for that short-term amount, short-term, you stack value for their stay. A discount at a nearest restaurant, discount on groceries if they're going to put it in there, a access, like I said, to the car, that a discount. Hey, it's Atlanta. We get you into the Trap Museum. Oh boy. Oh no. You get to the Trap Museum. Great. You get 3 tickets to the Trap Museum. I don't care. Whatever it may be, or you can do to stack value. When value is stacked, I notice, whether it's in real estate, business, Alex Hormozy does a great job in driving that home. You now make it harder for a person not to come back or not to stay, or you make it harder for those things. Hint, hint. Look at the description below. Sign up for our off-market property list for Georgia. These are fixer-upper properties that we send out every Friday. And then if you really want to get down with it, just go ahead and click the relocation package, which is free if you're relocating to Georgia. We cover all the states, all of the counties that are in Georgia, the average rental rates for those counties, and rental rates for those counties, and purchase rates for those counties. And where's the best place to actually park your hat at if you're coming to Georgia as a whole? It's not always Atlanta for some people, but that's free. See, give them value where now they stay around. And I don't think business training, that's an unconventional, untraditional, non-traditional business approach. I don't think you can be traditional during this time and expect to actually be successful, because the big box places are doing that and much more. Okay. And if you don't really understand what I'm saying with that, go stay at an Airbnb and then go stay at a hotel and see how much free stuff you get, or access to discounted stuff for entertainment in the city at the hotel that you don't get at some of these Airbnbs.
And the only thing that was keeping Airbnb competitive was the fact that it was cheaper than a hotel. But that's not the case anymore. Like, I've got a Charlotte trip coming up, got to do a conference or whatever. And I'm looking at the stuff and I'm like, how am I going to split these 4 days up, because I have to be in 2 cities within 4 days? And it's like, I'm just going to do hotels and collect my points and put it towards something else, because they don't really have anything to incentivize me to stay at an Airbnb. There's not even additional security. So that's why. Oh, and another thing, y'all, PR has been down the drain, because every 4 to 6 weeks is some type of video of some irate owner kicking out, coincidentally, black people out of the Airbnb.
So I made a video.
Customer service is big. See, customer service isn't big until something happens. I tell people that it's not big for you. Yeah, you're good with it until something happens, and then you're trying to get it, and you're wondering, why the hell did I stay there anyway? They said they had 5 stars, bro. I can tell you some of the other things on the background that you can do in that Airbnb app that I discovered that will actually stifle any of your comments about those places that you stayed in that you didn't like. Yeah, it'll actually make it where it doesn't show up and people don't see it. Man, I'm telling you, the game is meant to be sold, not told, but I'm telling you, so I don't know what to say, bro.
Several months ago, talking about how Airbnb has just lost their mind, and so many of the sellers will price their units so highly and you get really nothing in return for the price that you pay. Well, this is exhibit A, B, C, D, E, F, G until Z, because we walked into a unit last night. We're paying $500 US a night for this unit, and This is probably the most horrific Airbnb that I've ever been to. It's in Aspen, Colorado, actually 30 minutes outside of Aspen. Snowmass. And I just have to show you guys what this is like. So we walk in, and first of all, there's just a man right here. We don't know who he is. He doesn't say a word. He's apparently fixing this, but like, doesn't say a word. He's just there. Okay, weird. Then we had to go and leave to go get food. And he was like, well, I'm not finished here, so I'm going to stay here. Who are you? We have to leave all of our stuff now here with you. The Airbnb host didn't tell us that there was going to be someone here. So now we have to leave all of our belongings with a stranger who could have easily just grabbed anything. Cool. Walk in. It's freezing in here. There's no furniture except this. No furniture. Like,
no, there's a chair.
There's a chair. The outlets are literally falling apart. Okay, sure. And then we're like, oh, at least there's a fireplace because it's freezing in here. Let's warm it up. Fireplace doesn't work. Okay. Then we try to warm up the thermostat here. Put it on to max. This is the max amount of furniture that they have, by the way. Like, and nothing of it matches. So I know they got everything for $2 at Dollar General.
See, and this is what I mean by hustle. This is exactly what I mean by just hustle. Like, you just want to throw it together so that you could just get somebody to stay there and just make some money. There's no prior business planning. There's no shame to say that I'm going to have people stay here and they've only got a couch, a TV, and a chair. That's just my opinion. And we put up with this stuff because we're used to actually practicing this stuff in our personal lives. See, I know when I go to certain places, my wife will walk out. She'll be like, what the hell is going on over here? Like, there's only one couch. There's a table. She'll straight tell you, like, that burner's broken. Who's going to sit in that chair that's 3 inches from the ground? See, all these things make sense. And when we sign up and we participate in this type of buffoonery, we get what we get. So part of me is like, that's why I say it's not just the host, it's also the people that's there, but it still does fall on Airbnb to provide a level of consistency to people that want to rent these places.
Anyway, turn the heat on, go over here, no heat coming out. Oh my God, amazing. Okay. Then we go into the bedroom. It's a little bit of a mess. This is the bedroom. This is a double bed. In this bedroom, no night tables, no headboard. I didn't realize that I was shacking it up with like a bachelor in like the first year college. There's no curtains.
That is like my first year of college. That's the room for my first year of college. That really is. That's the room for my first year of college. And that's also how my bachelor pad looked before I met my wife. Exactly like that. I'm of the belief that there's probably a dude that did this and put this together. I'm sorry, guys, it's the truth. Guys, very few guys actually think about headboards because it's like, hey, I don't have a headboard. Who needs a headboard?
Oh, no.
Who needs a headboard? Who needs end tables?
Oh, no.
What do you mean end table? Shoot, I got 4 forks. Why would you need a 5th one? What? Well, hold on. Let's go for a knife. You got 1 toilet roll. That should be good enough.
Oh, no.
For the whole family. Yeah, we know you're going to be here for 2 weeks, but that 1 toilet roll, because you got 1 bathroom. I stayed at an Airbnb. They only had 1 bathroom. I asked my wife, I said, what the hell are we doing here? What the hell? She's like, yeah, it was a cheaper rate. And I said, I dealt with it for a couple of days. But you know a guy put that thing together. They hit it. You know it.
These are like the thinnest blinds ever. So at night, it's so bright I could read a book in here.
That's amazing.
The walls are so thin I could hear a feud that was happening outside, except it felt like we were on the Maury show and it was happening inside our bedroom. The pillows don't even match. The pillows are from Dollar General for sure. They're stained and disgusting. And I'm just like, and even now, we went to sleep last night. It was so bright in here, so loud, so cold. We messaged the host. We end up calling him this morning, and we're like, man, what in the world is going on? Because this Airbnb is like 25% of the way done. And he's like, well, this is just what it is. What? Like, we as humanity are losing it if we're okay paying these prices. Like we have to stand up. Like it's out of control. Oh, and also there's no hot water to shower. So at the very least, it's like room temperature. So when I was showering last night, I had goosebumps. Oh, that too. I had goosebumps while I was showering. So try shaving, doing that. And then the best part is that there was a hot tub in the listing. Like in the photos, there was a hot tub. And we're like, okay, amazing. We're like, we'll go to the hot tub, whatever. We get here, there's no hot tub. So we call him and he's like, oh no, there is a hot tub, but you have to get in the car and go to it. And he's like, and when you go to it, it's at this other building, but pretend that you're staying there because it's not part of our unit. So now you have me lying to get to another building, to get to a hot tub, and then come back sopping wet in my sopping wet clothes to then shower here. So that's Airbnb for you.
Airbnb took 400.
Yeah. That's why they definitely need to go out of business. That's a bad host. That is a terrible host. What's worse is while she's telling this, I realize the reason why everything is cold in that house and your water's, the dude doesn't have any gas. The gas is off. That's the reason why. Because if you got cold water and you can't seem to get heat going on, damn, that sucks. Now, you shouldn't be able to rent those things out and the utilities aren't on. Get rich quick.
1,000 houses off their marketplace this year. 400,000. It's imploding. It's an imploding market.
Good. I'm glad they did. It's true. Airbnb did remove 400,000 listings from their platform this last year, and most of them deserved it. Because for the last 5 years, everyone thought that you could just throw an IKEA bed in a room, call it an Airbnb, and get rich. But that era is now over.
I've owned 75 of them, and I'd say when I look back at my portfolio, maybe 5 of them made consistent money. It's a gamble.
Wow. Okay. Pace Morby, that's another real estate guru type of guy. He is a guru type of guy. He was advocating for a lot of people to do this Airbnb, and you see how many units he had doing it, and only 5 ran consistent. He's not off because I looked at the consistency of our Airbnb numbers, and it was like non-existent. Sometimes you'll have a week where you'll have a month where people stay 3 weeks, then you have a month where people will stay literally 1 month. Literally 1 month. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Now, I don't blame, like I said, I don't blame a bunch of people for that. I blame it on me. I have to take responsibility for that because I didn't sit back and map it out as well as I mapped out some of my other stuff. I saw people doing great things with Airbnb, and I said, damn, I've done great things when it came to flipping, wholesaling. Why not Airbnb? Oh, yeah, I'm a master investor. See, you don't get good at investing by just doing stuff perfect. You actually get good by failing. You actually do, because you got to find your lane, and you got to realize you got to pull out all that stuff you really don't want to do. Like I discovered I hated being an Airbnb host. I loved the model. I loved how it worked, but I hated being a host. And worse than that, I hated managing it. And then when I saw the people that managed it, and I spoke to about 2 or 3 other property managers, because I wanted to put it in the hand of a property manager at one time, I'm like, it's like the cost is so high, the return, the net is non-existent. And for somebody to go on Airbnb DNA, which that is a site that shows you how to project out your numbers for Airbnb, you can create an account. And I don't have a subscription with them, so I'm not plugging them in. But you will create an Airbnb DNA account, and from that DNA account, you're able to kind of get a concept on that property and how much that property you will actually earn off of that property. When I saw the managers do it from that and other ways, I looked at it and scratched my head because I'm like, damn, I don't see myself making any money. I don't know what people, and I get what people were doing. I'm going to say it again, imitating other people instead of stepping out and finding the strategy that works for you. I am 100% in Real Estate Lunchbox about finding your individual lane because everybody has a different lane. You'll find out single family homes, they aren't for everybody. They really aren't. And the reason they aren't for everybody is everybody doesn't want to deal with tenants and deal with toilets and deal with springs that occur in front of the house. Man, I had a renter. I have a relative that had a house, and imagine a pipe bursting in the front yard, and it is being rented out, and you're spending $80,000 to fix that. People ain't ready for some of this stuff. I tell them.
He had 75 listings, but only 5 made money. Respectfully, that's not Airbnb failure, that's host failure.
Yeah.
Failure on Airbnb is commonly linked to location, photos, amenities, communication, and overall management. You guys, Airbnb didn't remove 400,000 listings because it's dying. They removed them because guests were tired of dirty homes, bad hosts, and low-effort properties.
And what happens is you have local municipalities are hammering on Airbnbs, and they have. Atlanta, Georgia, completely out. You can have one. LA, gone. Las Vegas, Nevada, gone.
So I was in Atlanta. My first one was in Atlanta. He's right. They struggled so hard to put the guidelines in place and then to enforce it. And literally, when you went to apply for the license in the city at that time, if you were turned down for like the slightest thing, even if it was something you made an error in doing it, you could not reapply for another freaking year. Oh no. So these are the things that choked out Airbnb. Okay? It was a massive amount of things. It wasn't one particular thing. Even though we want to say it's the host, we want to say, oh, it's the renters, the people that are staying there. Oh, it's Airbnb. It's the city, the municipality. No, bro, it's everything happening at the same time that caused that to happen. But I keep saying it again. Even though it choked out Airbnb, we got to ask the question, why is VRBO still around? Why do we still have short-term rentals? Because there is a way in doing it. And even these people that toward arbitrage, man, I ain't even get onto the arbitrage conversation. They still were teaching a faulty, effed up model. Effed up. I paid for their courses. I listened to some of their courses. I used some of that when I rolled my first one out. But even in that, I said, dude, this still don't make sense. It still doesn't. And that's crazy for Pace Morby Guru to only have 5 out of 75 that actually cash flow.
Phoenix, Arizona, guys.
For the record, Phoenix, Vegas, Atlanta, and LA did not ban Airbnb. They regulated Airbnb, which is a huge difference. The reality is Airbnb is just maturing. They know that there's been problems in the past and they're trying to do better. For good hosts who are going above and beyond and providing that next level experience for their guests, they are thriving. I'm curious, are you seeing Airbnb slow down or are you seeing it get more competitive? Let me know in the comments.
Hey, I'm seeing Airbnb slow down. I'm seeing VRBO pick up where Airbnb fell. And I'm seeing saturation in markets like Texas metro markets, Austin, Atlanta, of course, Atlanta, so New York. So you have to be heavy strategic, and it takes more than just buying a course from somebody that says you can do it, honestly. What still performs? Alpha segments. Segments in major cities, in my opinion, and I'm looking at the stats right now when I'm talking to you, that drive unique housing. Unique. When I say unique, imagine one where you come out and you're on the Beltline. That's unique. That's different because it's not. We have homes in Atlanta all over, but very few homes share the ability to be on the Beltline. And like I said before, stacking value. A lot of people don't know how to do that because they're in the I'm a take environment, and opposed to I'm gonna actually give people some stuff, and make it like worth them actually doing this, man. And I sit back, I'm like, oh, bro. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. All right, I'm at about an hour and 40 minutes on this right now, but yo, dog, I'm still rocking. Hey, leave your comment. Got something to say? Let me know. I'm rocking. Here it is, and I appreciate everybody that's commented so far. Let's do one more. Well, you know what? Let's not do this last one. I'm gonna save this for Monday. This is crazy. I thought it was very interesting. Okay, let's do it. All right. Now call me a conspiracy theorist as much as you want to, but when I saw this, it was a level of conspiracy. I'm trying to figure out how a former CIA agent ends up with 300 bars of gold in his house.
More than 300 gold bars worth more than $40 million and $2 million in cash. That is what the FBI says that it found in the Ashburn home of a former executive at the CIA. Thanks for joining us for News 4 at 4. I'm Erica Gonzalez. The man's name is David Rush. The FBI says that Rush also...
All right, he lost his top secret clearance right there. They just gave his full name. That means if he had anybody that he worked overseas, if his picture gets out there, he's burnt. He literally got burned already. You remember that show, what was it called? Burn Notice? They used to come on USA. Your identity's out there. People know you can no longer work for the FBI, CIA. Your top secret clearance, they know how you are. Consider yourself the version of, what's the name of that show? Jack Ryan, okay? Jack Ryan, it's a wrap. To me, I can understand why a CIA agent would have a bunch of gold in his house along with $2 million in cash, because they don't play the same way we play. And we keep dropping these stories about these covert guys who like the mayor in that Southern California city that was low key advocating for China. She was a Chinese national. Guys, listen, these people don't play by the same rules that you play by. So when I see this story, I'm like, dang, this is crazy. But it's regular business for them, business as usual for them.
Lied to the CIA about degrees that he had from 2 universities. News 4's Paul Wagner joins us live in Ashburn.
And you mean to tell me the CIA did not do a background check to validate that he graduated from these schools? Guys, he's no longer working for the CIA. He's worked for him, did his tenure, and he's done. And you discover in the back end of his tenure that, hey guys, he really didn't go to Duke.
Oh no.
He's not really a Yale graduate.
Oh no.
This joker he barely completed high school. But yo, these are the people we put. And I love the CIA because I'm going to tell y'all don't like this, but they're going to do some stuff that y'all will never do. And you'll never find out about it, but you'll wake up the next morning and you'll be in a safe bed. And you wonder, you can kick, spit, and hit everything you want to hit about the government. But there's a different feeling waking up to a peaceful environment than an environment that's being full frontal attacked by foreign nationals that don't like you. They don't like your country. The CIA kind of does that. And you know what? I think they're still dope, regardless of all the corrupt shit that's been going on. Yeah, they still got a level of dopeness about them, in my opinion. Anywhere you can go and you can take 300 bars into your house of gold, and they just disappear. It just disappears from the CIA radar.
To talk us through these details that almost sound like a movie, Paul.
It is a movie.
Hi there, Erica. This is David Rush's house here behind me in Ashburn Farm. And let me tell you what happened here about a week ago, Monday.
They put his house on the street too? Former CIA executive. They got his face, his name, and his house. He's completely burned. He has no operations that he adds value to right now for the CIA, except for probably paperclip, shoveling papers. And even in there, they probably don't want him to shovel papers because now you're so far out there, the enemy knows who you are. People who aren't good players in our society, they know who you are. And guys, don't think that these people don't live in your country. Don't think that they don't live in your neighborhood and your streets. I'm not telling you conspiracy. Come on, man. You got to believe what I'm saying. You talking about aliens that they're telling you about exist now. And they're telling you there's 4 different types of them. And your behind still hasn't caught up to it. A lot of people haven't caught up to it. What I'm telling you is the truth. Homeboy's burned.
It was the 18th. And according to a neighbor who spoke with News 4 off camera, he says he was awakened at about 6 o'clock in the morning by someone on a bullhorn shouting, "This is the FBI. We have a warrant for your arrest. Come out with your hands up." That man got out of bed. He looked outside. He saw a number of FBI agents, tactical gear, standing here on this street. He says the next thing he saw was David Rush, his neighbor, in handcuffs. He says the FBI was then inside this house all day long.
Wow.
David Rush is a former CIA senior officer with the
Oh! I told you he burned. His face is out there. That boy was cooked. Oh, boy, you know, I'm not even going to talk about how David looked. David looked like, he definitely look like an ex-CIA operative. He definitely looks like it. I'm sorry, Dave. He fits all of the, yeah, I'm going to be straight up right now. What do you call it? I'm calling him out. I'm profiling. David is a straight up CIA operative. He is former because he probably quit and never returned that money back. Now, stick with me on this. I'm not going crazy. David now is burned. Think of it. David had the FBI show up at his house. David didn't even have connections in the CIA to call him and say, "Hey, they're about to raid your house. Get rid of the gold." David didn't know they were coming. David didn't know. David is out. He's out at the CIA. His clearance is cooked and is done. From someone that had clearance in the government, clearance before, it's cooked and is done. Buried. Never the same level of that. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying I was ever on that level. No. But damn, you do want to keep your clearance even when you leave the firm, the company, the people. It's dope to still have it, right? It's easy when you go to the next job to say, "Yeah, I had secret clearance. I had clearance here." Yeah. Boy. This boy looked like he was up to nothing.
Top secret security clearance. According to a complaint filed in federal court, Rush made several requests for work-related expenses between November of 2025 and March of 2026. Those expenses, according to the complaint, included a large amount of cash and tens of millions of dollars in gold bars, which was given to Rush. But at some point, it's unclear when, a review of Rush's storage space at the agency only found a small portion of the cash he was given. According to the complaint, FBI agents searched his house. During the search, FBI agents seized approximately 303 gold bars.
During the search, FBI agencies 303 gold bars based on the current value. The gold, the estimated value of the gold exceeds $40 million. So he was supposed to leave it there for when it was needed for his ops. He didn't. So the CIA turned him over to the FBI and they ran an ops on him. Dude, they ran ops on him. Up until March 2026? So that means he was employed by the FBI, by the CIA up until March 2026. That's insane. February, March. We're in May? 2 months ago? I think it's so foul. I think the foulest part is they probably were reaching out to him and telling him to bring their stuff back, but he didn't listen to him. To me, that's the only way that I can actually see something like this happening. He didn't listen to him. But I'm trying to figure out why the CIA did not come to his house and say, "Hey, bro, give us our shit." It's CIA business, right? Something more is going on with this. It's got to be something more going on.
Based on the current price of gold, the estimated value of the gold exceeds $40 million. FBI agents also seized approximately $2 million in United States currency. The complaint says Rush applied 3 times to the CIA. Twice in 2006 and again in 2009 when he was hired. The investigation has revealed that he never attended or obtained a degree from Clemson University. The investigation also revealed that Rush never attended or obtained degrees from RPI or Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. According to court documents, Rush also told employees he was a pilot for the Navy. That was not true. The FAA saying it did not have a certificate or pilot's license registered to Rush. While News 4 was in the...
But y'all gave this guy secret freaking clearance. Y'all gave him secret clearance Y'all ain't do no background check. And then we all wonder, I'm telling y'all wonder why we can get Chinese nationals to become mayors of cities in Southern California. You wonder how Chinese nationals can buy a farmland in America. This is insane. To me, this is exactly what happens in corporate America too. You got a lot of people that apply for jobs and they lie the heck out on their resume. Nobody goes and checks their freaking resume. Cheyenne Bryant, remember Cheyenne Bryant? I ain't cover it because it ain't got nothing to do with me on this. Not on this channel at least. But it is interesting that her degrees also came into question. Nobody turned around and did any type of research. With LinkedIn and all these other things available, nobody did it. And this joker had been working there since 2009, protecting you and me.
Neighborhood, someone inside Rush's home called police complaining about the media. Most people we talked to declined to comment about Rush. None would go on camera. One couple told News 4 Rush's wife and children would take walks in the neighborhood, but they rarely saw David Rush. Now, that complaint filed in federal court also says that the FBI found 35 luxury watches inside this house. Those watches were mainly Rolex, is what the court document said. We did reach out to David Rush's attorney. She did respond. She said she had no comment. There was supposed to be a detention hearing for Mr. Rush tomorrow in federal court in Alexandria, but that's now been kicked until next week, June 5th. Erica?
You know, Paul, lots of people are probably asking, how could something like this happen, right? So if the CIA is known for its intense screening process and their background checks, what are federal officials saying about how this could have happened?
You have the question of the day, Erica. Everyone's asking that. There's nothing in the court document saying how this may have happened, other than they're saying that he lied about his college degrees and that he lied about being a pilot. But if you go on the CIA's website, it talks about its stringent requirements to become an employee of the CIA. It says,
I'm applying for the CIA today. I'm going to go in there, CIA, let y'all know. I'm going through LinkedIn. I'm going to click that button over there. I speak 25 languages. Yes, I do. I speak 25 languages. I've got what else do I have? I've got a PhD from Harvard, from Yale. And just to let you guys know, I do sign language too. I can sign. Okay? Y'all need to bring me on. Y'all really need to bring me on. Because y'all brought him on and that joker ain't know nothing. So my 25 languages, my PhD, my ability to sign, they should be able to do. Matter of fact, I shouldn't have to even write any of those on a resume. Y'all should be able to take me just the way that I am right now, a real estate broker with 20 years of experience. Y'all need to take me, and I need to be running some co-ops, some ops over in one of those other countries. I'll learn how to speak Arabic as I go. That's not one of the 25 languages I know. Insane. Bro, this is crazy.
there are background checks, including interviews with family, friends, and neighbors, that there's a mandatory polygraph test, that there's physical and psychological testing, and it also says disqualifiers include lying. So that is your question and everybody else's today, and we just don't know the answer to that. We just know that, you know, you watch all of these shows about the CIA and the FBI, and they talk about how tough it is to get a job in one of these agencies, right? And how did this happen? If what is in that document is true.
The same, I'm gonna tell you, the same system that they use to scan some of these guys who are illegals, and we saw it, and they basically said, hey, yeah, you know, that same system is the same system they're probably using for the CIA agents. That's exactly the same thing. To me, this makes us look really bad in front of the rest of the world. I'm wondering what they're thinking about at the Kremlin. Who knows? Those guys, I don't know what the CCP is actually looking at. When we put this stuff out there, you got to realize these people see it also, okay? So the same systems that were used to scan some of these guys that gave them the ability to be able to work at some of these colleges, and they were foreign nationals from Brazil and some of these other countries, and they came in and they didn't have a bad background, and they passed the clearance, and we gave them the job. I think that's the same one that they're using for the CIA. I believe the company that they use to do their background checks, that same company from Southwest Atlanta, you know, the one right next to the Pizza Hut, in between the Pizza Hut and the Burger King. Yeah. That's who they use to fill their positions.
That he did not have any of these degrees, and he was lying about his service.
Yeah, it's not every day that you hear about gold bars and 35 Rolexes. Paul Wagner, live for us this afternoon. Paul, thank you.
Yeah. To me, this is hard because I had clearance in the military. I did my time. I got my awards. I got my mandate. They damn well checked everything. Okay? They damn well checked everything on me. But I got to ask the question now. I probably could have went for some other positions. All I had to do is let them know that I worked at that I went to Liberty University and got my PhD. That's it. 25 languages. Man, guys, like, subscribe, follow for more content. I am out 2 hours in. Thank you for joining Real Estate Lunchbox. This is where culture meets real estate. We just talk about real estate and all the other fun, interesting things that develop around the culture. Guys, don't forget the World Cup is coming June 15th. We're going to talk some more about that in Atlanta. Moving on. I see you guys on my next stream. I'm probably going to do one tomorrow. I don't know, depending on how I feel. Go over to my other channel, The Real Leon Duncan, and I dive a little bit deeper into some of this stuff that I can't talk about here because this is more real estate related. I didn't talk about the aliens. I didn't say anything about the aliens. How crazy it is that we got aliens and AI both coming out at the same doggone time. There's a lot in there. I'll see you guys on the next program. Peace. Hey, man, remember God love you just the way you are. Forget about what these people have to say about you. They don't know you. You good just the way you are. They losers.